Vanderbilt hosted their pro day recently, and I think a lot of Commodores have improved their draft stock.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Corey Burton, and this episode is going to be a doozy. Vanderbilt hosted their pro day and going to talk about any sleepers out there because I think there's a lot of those guys that you're not expecting, but I think are going to end up on some NFL rosters. You're going to be like, wait, what? I think Eli Stowers again showcased his talent. I have a hard time believing he's not going in the first round, but then again, tight ends, there's something there. But we're going to start obviously with Diego Pavia. Did he help himself or not? And there's the big, great debate is raging on about Diego Pavia. Did he help himself? That's where I want to start, because when you look at his draft stock, obviously as a quarterback, I don't know. His deep ball accuracy has not been phenomenal. I think a lot of things at the quarterback position that he brings to the table have been good in this draft process, but I don't know. Like, I don't know that this pro day, it didn't hurt him, but I also don't think it necessarily helped him. I think he is what he is at this point. He did well at the combine. He did well at Senior Bowl. He did well at pro day, but just like the conversation I had about Tyler Tanner on the reaction show, I just don't know that his size matches his ability. And I don't know that NFL teams are going to necessarily go with that. Now, I think he'd be great to have on a roster. I think he'd be great to have in a locker room. I think he's a good locker room guy. I think he can help galvanize the team. I think he can bring a lot to the table from a preparation standpoint. There's a chance that he could, if he's open to it, play like a Taysom Hill-type role where he's just kind of a weapon that can also throw the ball if need be. He can be an emergency quarterback. Like, I don't know. Like, the more this draft process goes on, the more voices you hear, and realistically, I'm not sure that he's going to make it in the league as a quarterback. And I've doubted him before. I think a lot of people have doubted him before. So obviously you do that at your own risk. But I don't know what to expect with Diego Pavia. I'll be honest with you. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's one of the best things that's happened to Vanderbilt. And I think his impact will forever live on in legend here at Vanderbilt. I think he is one of those type players. But the NFL is a different beast, and it's okay. There's no shame in that. But when you look at just his overall impact, I think it's going to be hard to really make and stay on a roster. Now, he could kick around for 5, 6, 7 years as a third string guy, playing for 3 different teams in 5 years. Like, I don't know what his career trajectory looks like, because I don't know. And I think there's got to be a team that will. I hope there is. I don't think that could be a reality. I have a hard time believing that, but I think there should be a team. I think it should happen. Will it happen? I don't know at this point. He's one of those that is so hard to judge, because he was so good in college that you're just like, okay, well, then you have the size thing, and of course the attitude thing is fresh in a lot of people's mind. But in the grand scheme of things, I think what he did at the Heisman Trophy candidate thing, I don't think that necessarily is going to scare a lot of teams away. I haven't heard any of that buzz in the draft process, so I don't know that on that scale was a huge deal. But I'm sure he had to answer for it. I'm sure teams asked him about it. I'm sure they said something, like, especially some of the New York teams that may have talked to him. But I don't know. He's one of those that it's almost like a mystery. You're just not sure where he fits. And if he'd be amenable to it, I think him coming in being a weapon would be phenomenal. He's a tough player. He's scrappy. He's gritty. And he could make an impact in the NFL. I'm just not sure it's at the quarterback position, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay. Receiver, weapon, whatever. I don't know if that's been talked about a lot. I don't know if that's been talked about with him at all. I haven't heard any of that. It's just kind of me just speculating a little bit. And I don't know. But what I do know is this: Diego Pavia is a special player. I think his talent, I think his scrappiness, I think his leadership qualities, honestly, they might be too good to pass up. But again, it might come at the cost for him of maybe contributing somewhere other than the quarterback position and still having that if needed, but maybe contributing somewhere else. But that's just kind of my thoughts now as we go, because like I think if you're going to be a player in this league, I think you have to have that buzz increasing the closer we get to the NFL draft. And if it doesn't, then I think that pretty much spells out either teams have got you figured out, they've got you, hey, this, on people's draft boards, I don't know where he is. If he's here, we're going to take him. Or if he's there, we're going to, I don't know where that conversation lies for Diego Pavia in these draft rooms. All I can do is speculate. And he's a late round guy. I always thought that because of his size. And I think he's still there. I don't think he improved. I don't think he plummeted. I don't think that's the weird part about Diego Pavia in this situation. I don't think he hurt nor helped himself at all. But I think someone who has helped himself is Eli Stowers. We're going to talk about him plus some other sleepers coming up next right here, Locked On Vandy. Stay tuned. Coast Pay is offering $2,000 credit for your business when you get started today. If you manage a crew with whether it's construction, HVAC, landscaping, or any operation with trucks on the road, you already know how messy gas and materials and spending can get. Cards get shared, receipts disappear, and month end turns into a headache. Coast Pay fixes all of that. Coast Pay is a modern fuel card and expense management tool built specifically for fleets. Fuel, maintenance, materials, all in one card with real control and instant visibility. Every transaction shows up the moment it happens, no surprises. If someone fuels up at an odd time or tries to buy something outside their limit, you'll know right away. And real-time alerts, so you always know who's spending what and where. Automatic receipt capture makes month end simple. Fraud protection with employee check-ins by text. No shared pins. Works anywhere Visa's accepted. No detours to specific stations. It's built for operators who don't have time to chase paperwork. And unlike old fuel cards, there are no contracts or commitments, just smarter expense control. Right now, Coast Pay is offering our listeners up to $2,000 credit when you get started at coastpay.com/lockedoncollege. Go to coastpay.com/lockedoncollege to see how you can earn up to $2,000 credit. Terms apply. The Coast Visa commercial credit card is issued by Celtic Bank. All credit card accounts are subject to credit approval. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. You play or play-by-play. You decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. I've got my number one pick for the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. And as you're thinking about yours, just know that 5-Hour Energy shots give you boost with zero sugar. And this one may come as a surprise to you, but I am picking Hawaiian Breeze. Why? Because I I'm a beach bum at heart. So I want to feel the breeze. I want to taste the caffeine. It's made with passion fruit, orange, and guava flavors. It's sweet yet smooth, tangy yet tart. That's the kind of flavor I like to give me the jolt that I need in the morning. That's going to be a very, very good flavor. So make sure 5-Hour Energy is something for you. Find your new favorite flavor, 5-Hour Energy Shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen. Talking about Pro Day, talking about the upcoming NFL draft, what Vanderbilt has to offer. And I think when you look at the overall draft board, obviously Diego Pavia is the headliner. Eli Stowers is somebody that quietly will headline this group. He will be the highest drafted in this group. And of course, I think you got a longer list of draft prospects that have a legitimate chance of getting into the NFL. I think in years past, I think you're good if Vanderbilt gets 2 or 3 guys drafted. Now I think you could potentially get a handful. You could get, let's see, you could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys drafted in this upcoming draft class, which is incredible, right? And of course, I think when you look at the way this draft class sets up, I think if you look at Eli Stowers, that's one that's very interesting to me as a pro prospect because of the position he plays, the way he plays that position, and the evolution of that position at the NFL level. I think makes it interesting because when you look at sleeper guys, like I never thought I would say a second rounder is a sleeper, but like I think people are, I wouldn't say they're doubting Eli Stowers. I would just say they're probably downplaying his impact, his potential impact, probably a little more than they should. But I think he's going to be a great player in this league because of the skills that he has, the route running ability he has, the speed, the vertical leap. I mean, he ran he jumped 45 inches. That's got to count for something. Now I know it's just running and jumping. But that's got to count for something. I mean, there's got to be, and he's a football player. Like he was a quarterback converted to a tight end. He has not played the tight end position very long either. And that's something that should be noted. So I think whoever gets Eli Stowers is going to have a special player. And I think they're going to have a mismatch nightmare on their team. And I think that's going to pay dividends for teams that are trying to create those mismatches. And Eli Stowers can definitely do that because he can run, jump, and play the receiver position like a receiver, but come in as a tight end because he can do some of the things tight ends that you ask tight ends to do as well. He's a Swiss Army knife, and he's going to be a special one there. So I'm really looking forward to what Eli Stowers brings to the table because from a match, like I said, from a matchup standpoint, he's going to be hell for somebody. I don't think that's Denver. They just got Jalen Waddle. I don't know if they're going to need another weapon. I don't know what they're going to do with Evan Ingram in the long term. They may jump up there and get Eli Stowers still. The Dolphins could use somebody. They don't have much at all. So they could use somebody like Eli Stowers. I think on a trick play too, he can launch one for you. Maybe the Dolphins will draft Eli Stowers and Diego Pavia to kind of help their quarterback tight end position. You got Quinn Ewers, Malik Willis, and Diego Pavia. Imagine that quarterback room, right? But I'm very excited to see where Eli Stowers goes. I mean, I think there wasn't a whole lot he could do to improve his draft stock after the combine. He had a really strong combine showing. I think the pro day further solidified that. So I think he's going to be in really good shape. And of course, NFL teams would love to have him represent them. So that's always a good thing as well. But when you look at some of the other guys, one of the guys I'm very, very excited about now, and I wish he wasn't 6'1" because I think that's going to deter a lot of NFL teams. But Zaylin Wood is somebody that I think they're going to find something for him. He's 6'1", probably 280. Actually, 277 is an official weight. He had a 9'8" broad jump, 31.5-inch vertical, and a 4.6 40. I'd like to know what his his 10-yard burst or his 10-yard splits were there, because I want to see his acceleration. But at fully healthy, that dude can go, man. And that dude has a motor. And that dude was really, really good. I think he could have a chance to kind of be a defensive end prospect there. I mean, undersized at 6'1", but when you got a motor, when you got some burst, and you got some good hands, and you got some ability, they'll find something for you. But I think there's an avenue there for them. I don't know that he's probably a back half of day 2, early part of day 3 guy. Jordan White at center. I think people are going to be turned off by the fact that he's 6'2", 293, but he runs a 5 flat in the 40, 27-inch vertical for a center, which I don't know that, I think just showing the explosiveness really. 8 foot 5 inch broad jump, which I don't love that, but again, you're playing center. So if you can snap the ball and you can step and block somebody right there in your face, I think you're good. But they're going to say he's a little bit on the lighter side to play center at the NFL. I think that's going to knock down his draft stock a little bit. But I do think he's going to be somebody that gets on a roster. He's going to be a really good pro. And I think he'll do the things to become a starting center in the league. I'm really excited about him. I think he can do a lot of great things there. Kolbey Taylor is somebody I'm really excited about. 6'2", 3 3/4, 190 pounds, 4'5" in the 40, 35-inch vertical, 11-foot broad jump. I mean, I just think you just look at him as a defensive back candidate, and just he really, really improved his film. And I think he's somebody that is gonna find his way into a roster, and you're gonna be like, whoa, that's Kolbey Taylor. He's gonna be one of those you kind of forget about. But then, like, on some random Sunday, you're watching Red Zone, and he's going to have some pick six, and he's going to let somebody know about it. He's got a massive chip on his shoulder, and I love that. And I think he's learned to kind of hone that and channel that to make sure it doesn't hurt him. So I like that a lot. And Khordae Sydnor, I think, is somebody that's going to be interesting as well. Massive wingspan, 6'4.5", 264, ran a 4.63. I think can be explosive. I think he can be – him and Zaylin Wood are very, very similar in how they play. Sydnor, I think, being a little bit taller, probably has a little bit more of a chance to be an earlier draft pick than Zaylin Wood, but I think they're going to have a similar impact. I think they're both going to make a roster and be really, really good for somebody. And then, of course, Bryce Henderson, Mount Henderson. I think if he can show that he can improve his quickness in pass protection, I think he'll be a great prospect. 6'7", 3 3/4, 330 pounds. I think he's somebody will take a chance on, probably 4th or 5th round, bring him into camp, develop him. I think Isaiah Glass is going to be a hell of a guard at the next level, 6'4", 306. I think he's going to be a good guard somewhere for somebody, maybe a right guard guy that's focused on the run game. I think those are some guys that really kind of stand out as far as that goes. Of course, Nick Haber and Durham Harris as specialists, I think have a chance to go somewhere. And of course, I can't really speak to the guys who participated from the other schools. But I think there's going to be a lot of guys. Langston Patterson could join in as a long snapper, special teams ace. I think he running a 4.5 for him and having a 36-inch vertical was something that really, really benefited and helped his chances of getting in the league as well. So I think there's a chance you could see a lot of these guys get their names called a lot more than usual. And I think when you look at that from a recruiting standpoint, that's big. Like, you can look and go, that's the best draft class we've had in X amount of years. I don't know what that number is, but you can point to it and say, this is where we're going. Your name could be on there. And some of these higher ranked guys may come in and their name may be on there with a higher number by the round. So who knows? But I'm very excited about the upcoming draft in April. I think a lot of Vanderbilt players have I think they've played their way. I think they've tested their way into some draft boards that they weren't normally on. And there's going to be some scouts that are going to make some decisions. I tell you who's not going to pick a Vanderbilt player is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They didn't send anybody to pro day, so they're going to miss out on the Vandy players. But that's okay. They're in the AFC South with the Titans, so let them miss out. But that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, all the good stuff. We'll continue to talk spring football. We'll continue to talk everything Vanderbilt as we move towards the 2026 football season, which is going to be exciting, very exciting, and something that everyone's looking forward to, of course. But until next time, anchor down. Peace.